guess so. No, nobody's told me about that.
I think it's on the age of your kids, but you know, kids will trick or treat all the way.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Laverne Board of Zoning Appeals, October the 31st, regular meeting at 5:30. We do have a quorum. I'd like to have the board review the minutes, if you would, for the September the 26th regular meeting. If anyone had a chance to read the minutes, if they could give them a motion, one way or the other, for the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to old business, number 1, special exception to allow automobile sales requested by Kevin Berter, property located at 409 Dick Buchanan Street, tax map 014, parcel 71.01, 9.82 acres, I1 light industrial zoning, parcel owned by Express Recycling Group LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Coates. The applicant is proposing to conduct automobile sales at this site located at 409 Dick Buchanan. And you can see in the photograph, it's the area outlined in blue. Backs up to the Veterans Park. It is zoned I-1 light industrial. And this item, you'll remember, was here last month, and there was some comments, and I know the applicant worked on those. We met on site the day after last month's meeting. And then I think there was a second meeting on site last week. The applicant approached the city probably 6 to 8 weeks ago, maybe sometime in that time frame, and they, I think, have inherited this business over time. Someone passed away, so created some unique circumstances, and then the city has no records that the prior business had ever received a special exception, so that is why grandfathering would not even apply in this case. So there's no record that whatever business was being operated prior to this request, there's no evidence that that was ever run through the Board of Zoning Appeals for the city. So coming before this board and getting approval will formalize everything and get it the way it needs to be. So I think that pretty much covers it. There's notes on the plan, some landscaping notes, and also notes pertaining to the dustless surface. And that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Is the applicant here? Do not see the applicant. What we'll do, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to move this item to after the new business and let him a chance to come in. He has brought a plat in and he's made the changes as we discussed, so, but I'd like him to be here for this. So let's just move on to new business, if we would. Item number 2, garage variance requested by Carlos Aldinra, property located at 302 South Lake Court, tax map 018C, Group B, parcel 3.0, R3, high density residential zoning district, property owned by George Aklina. Hope I pronounced that right. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And this item, too, was here last month in September. And it's located at the corner of Gale Lane and South Lake Drive. The address is 302 South Lake. And this request, I think, originated in February of this year, so it's been going on a long time. And originally, I think the applicant was approved for a carport at this location. And subsequently, sometime in the summer, probably in June, one of the building inspectors was on site and discovered it was a full garage and not a carport. So that kind of lengthened the process, and then of course that's not what was agreed to, so they had to change course, and then appeared again last month to remedy the former situation. And at last month's meeting they requested to be relieved of the decision of the building inspector. So they appealed that decision, so to speak, and were denied the appeal, and then instructed to reapply as an entire new application for a garage. So that's why now the report in your packet says request to build a garage at this location. And so it is a new request, and the applicant did pay the fees again the appropriate fee for this request, and so that's how it has been handled. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Is the applicant here? Come on, step to the podium and raise your right hand, please. Do you promise to say everything but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree what the Mr. Logan has described?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The board have any questions? I know we discussed this heavily last month, but any thoughts or comments?
You're gonna make a garage out this time, right?
Yes, sir.
Nothing else?
No, sir.
I noticed that picture shows there, you already got the garage doors up there, right?
The
Roll-
frame, yeah.
Rolling garage doors, you already got them up? Make a motion, we grant it?
So we
I
have
second.
a motion and a second. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 3, new business, park and variance, Laverne Super Mercado store, requested by Masood Bahiti, property located at 410 Dick Buchanan Street, tax map 014, Group A, parcel 14.00, I1 Light Industrial, property owned by Mark Hunter. Mr. Logan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This request is also ongoing and is on the Planning Commission agenda for tonight after this meeting ends. And they are building an addition to this grocery store. It's been there for several years. I don't know the length, but it's been there a long time. It's not a new building. And the addition is roughly 3,300 square feet, give or take. So the existing store is 12,000 square feet, and this would bring it to 15,353 square feet. And I did print off separate pictures and attach them to your reports. And they're the same as are up here, but I thought it'd be helpful to have them in front of you. Sometimes the colors and the distance is hard to tell on the slides. Essentially, when staff reviewed the site plan at the Planning Commission level, I guess together the applicant and the city staff discovered a parking shortage, and so they roughly are indicating 49 spaces, and they need approximately 62. So there's a shortage of 13 to 15 spaces, so it would not meet the city ordinance. So essentially, it becomes an appeal because it was staff's decision that they needed to meet the parking requirement for the grocery store, and they cannot, so they opted to appeal the decision of staff. So it's coming before you in that manner, and the appeal process is outlined in your report. I won't go through that. It's kind of lengthy, but it's there if you need more information, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Do we have the applicant here this evening? On step at the podium, sir, and raise your right hand so you can be sworn in. If you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Masood Fathi, 7432 Highway 70 South, Nashville.
Do you promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Not from me.
Sir, is there a reason that you're not able to do the extra 13
Well,
spaces?
I'm the civil engineer on the project, and I squeezed every bit of the land that was available on that site. Really, there is no other place to put any parking. We added parking in the back, on the side of the building, and up front is pretty much the existing parking. We try to squeeze as much as I can, but there's just not enough room.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
At the back of the property, if you look at the property from the road, looking towards the property, there's quite a large drop-off on the existing pavement back to the fence. What's your intent there for the
There's
water
a
runoff?
retaining wall. We're gonna add a retaining wall, and the details of it is on the site plan.
If you look in the building, there's a building to the right that has a roll-up door that comes onto the car parking area. What do you intend to do with car parking spaces where that roll-up door is in another building? There's another building to the right of it.
To the right, we're gonna remove some of that existing concrete blocks, and the building gonna stay, and the door's gonna stay, but whether they are accessible or not, that just remains as they are.
But my question is the car parking spaces in front of that roll-up door? Because it would appear by your drawing that you supplied that there is, and therefore you're going to be blocking an entranceway with at least 2 parking areas.
Those parkings are going to be just used by the employees. They are further back. They are not blocking any doors. I'm pretty sure the doors are as they were, shouldn't be blocked. And those parkings are used only by the employees. And if they need to be removed, that's not a problem.
But if you remove I believe you're going to have to move the 2 parking spaces because the door comes onto the car parking area. So therefore, you may be one or 2 additional car parking spaces short of the city requirements.
I got to look at the site, but I can't recall. But the owner is here. He might be able to address it because he's more familiar with the site.
If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Mark Hodder.
Do you promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
What other question exactly?
So when I went to the property and had a look around, if you're looking from the road, looking at the front of the building, on the right there is another building that apparently you're not using, but there's a roll-up door, access door, that comes out onto the back of your property and/or car parking area.
Right.
So I was just, obviously we don't want to block in a roll-up door. So therefore, the 2 parking spaces, or appears to be 2 that you're going to want to put on there, you're going to have to lose those 2 because the door needs to be accessible.
That building, it has 2 roll-up doors from both sides, so that the one close to the building that we're working on, that can be closed down.
Is this your building too?
Yeah.
So is this roll-up door, is it used for delivery, but you're saying you have 2 of these roll-up doors?
Yeah,
so you
there's
could
2 roll-up doors
access?
across each other within the same building from both sides.
Okay, so you would only need to use one,
I
or
would
would you
only
still
need-
need to be?
I would
using
only
both?
need one, and it's
Okay.
vacant, it doesn't have anything in it.
If it's vacant today, I mean, what happens if you do lease it or somebody comes to use it? I'm just trying to play
No,
ahead
I
with-
know, but I'm answering with the best of my knowledge that I have no intention of using that roll-up door. Even if I rent it in the future, I'll rent it into something where they don't have to use that side of the door.
Let's see. The back of the property at the present time looks quite tidy. I mean, it looks a mess, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
what's your intent there? Because it looks, I drove back there and I was surprised at the untidiness and the stuff that shouldn't be there was laid around. I was just upset that it didn't look very good on the back side of the property.
You're talking about in the back of the property?
Yes.
I mean, that was the whole general idea, is to clean that back and, add parking spots and have it a clean area with concrete or asphalt and stuff instead of all that mess.
Well, go back to your engineer. There is quite a drop off from the bottom right corner to the
There's
fence. I mean,
about,
it's several. I mean, 3 or 4 or 5 feet maybe.
Yes, the retaining wall is anywhere between 4.5 to 5.5 foot. That's designed. Of course, we could reduce that if we need to. We could actually slope that 15-foot buffer up and reduce the wall height. But I left it like it is for just to let the water, in a sense, sheet flow across the property line. But yes, there is about 4.5 foot to 5 foot retaining wall. By the time we get the parking in there and the retaining wall and all that area will be repaved and cleaned up. The sewer tank and the casting of it, all of that going to be cleaned up, brought to the grade, and the panel's going to move them, put on the wall. That's the whole idea. The idea is just to clean up that area.
Is the drainage gonna run off behind you to another property?
Goes to the back, yes. There's a
Is the ditch back there related water?
We have designed an underground detention pond that's going to hold the water, and then it's going to release it at pre-developed rate. But I talked to Carl Brown a few days ago, and he had some comments to incorporate it. We are extending the riprap and the berm on the backside to slow the water, and he agrees with that as far as addressing the storm.
I'll give you my opinion. The rest of the board is, I'm I think it's just not enough parking for what they're trying to do, and I have an issue with the back of the property. Understanding that they're going to have underwater detention, but we still need to have the correct car parking spaces, and they're increasing the size of the building is going to be an issue. So I still have an issue with the amount of car parking spaces for the size of the building is going to be. That's
Mr.
my
Coates,
comment.
if I could just interject, and just a reminder to the board, you all know this, but a lot of Mr. Coates's concerns, while very possibly valid, are going to be addressed, assuming the variance is permitted by the Planning Commission on the site plan. So this is simply just a request to get the variance for less car parking spots, and then if there are issues like with drainage and the detention wall and stuff, that would be addressed by the Planning Commission at the site
Sure.
plan.
Sure.
So would this be something that the planning commission would be able to address as far as keeping that rear area cleaned up? Would that be something y'all could address?
The planning commission will address the drainage, yes, by the underwater detention. The concern for us is the amount of car parking spaces has been deficient for the size of the building. So that's what the request is.
I would like to see the planning commission, somebody follow up and make sure if we approve this, it's cleaned up back in the state's cleaned up. 'Cause we've had
Well,
some problems.
it's a catch-22. We have to make a decision first, and then they can make a decision from there. So that's a...
Just know the certificate of occupancy, if it's not as this board wishes, then we'll make sure that Mark here is aware of your wishes at the time of the certificate of occupancy. And we'll have everything, all these issues addressed as far as cleanup. We have discussed cleanup issues with Mr. Hurd in the past.
I mean, this was the
Have
whole,
we
you
not?
remember, this was actually,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
we
the
have.
actual, what brought up the idea to clean the back with, the sewer pump and the grinding and stuff to bring it up to standard, and this was the whole idea. I was like, at the same time, might as well do it a one-time job and clean the back, and, but,
We have trouble approving some things sometimes it's not taken care of later on.
That's very true.
We've got a great codes department that stays on top of that stuff too, though.
That's right. We do our
I'm
best.
with, my concern is the same. It's not like we're short a couple parking spaces. We're short a large number of parking spaces for the area, and if, I don't know if you have that many cars coming, I don't know where they're gonna park, and I think it could create an issue, so,
There will be
that's
need
my
for-
biggest concern.
The need for the parking is really not that much. They are operating with just parking now, and they are doing fine. The addition is just for refrigerators and
the addition
freezers.
is
It's
really not much
gonna
of an
increase
extra
the-
space. It gives walk-in coolers that are gonna be access for employees through the building to the walk-in coolers outside.
So
It's,
still you're looking at the same number of people usually use the facility, and the parking is, has increased drastically. But if there is a place to put parking, there's no problem, you can have it, but it's just not, there's no room.
Are you the manager, the store owner?
I'm the owner.
Okay, I pass through that road several times a day to get back and forth to my subdivision, and I've never seen your parking lot full, but I'm not there every hour of the day either. Are there other than times I've driven by and the parking lot looked empty almost, are there times of the day that you have more business there and more cars there? Then-
Just like during lunchtime and when people get off work around between 4 to 6 o'clock, that's actually the rush hours for us. Other than that, it's enough parking with what we have on the front.
You
So
do-
whatever parking lots, parking spots that we add, it gets extra for employees, for extra customers or something.
Are you increasing the space for merchandise or just for equipment?
For equipment. In the
Equipment?
back, yes, ma'am.
Personally, I drive through that road quite a bit because it's shorter for me to avoid a lot of traffic. And I try to make note of everything up and down the road because it does come before our board a lot. And I've never seen that parking lot full. And being a real estate agent, I drive at various different hours. And I would be inclined to be in favor of some more retail
Thank you.
in that area. But that's just me.
Board, well, we've heard all discussions all the way around. Is anyone here for or against, against this appeal of decision? If not, will anyone make motion, one way or the other?
Make a motion we approve.
I second the motion to approve.
Okay, we'll have a roll call vote.
Aye.
No?
No,
So the motion presently fails because it's 2 to 2, therefore the motion fails. because there is not, it's 2 against 2, therefore the motion fails.
Okay.
So there's, either we have to add parking or,
I mean, what are the options? What do we have to do?
Well, I suppose if you're not, if you could look at, and there's just a suggestion, you could look at the existing square foot of 12,078 feet of how many car parking spaces that is, and just see if you can, I suppose, not increase the size of the building for your additional add-ons, and or come up with some additional parking.
with this ruling, then there's no need for us to come back for the planning commission.
Mr. Coates, if I could interject, pursuant to our rules, the motion, you're right, did fail because there was not a majority vote that approved it. It was a motion to approve of the application. That means it's still on this board's table for discussion, and the board can further discuss this matter and would need another motion, whether it be to approve, to deny, to defer for whatever reason whatsoever, but there has to be some action taken on it, one way or the other.
So just,
I make a motion to, if the applicants are willing, to have it deferred until we have a board of 5 people to vote.
let me just explain. At the moment, we only have 4 of us, and it's 2 to 2. So therefore, your option is, as she's indicating, is to, you could put it off, defer, and wait till we have the 5th member, and see which way that motion goes from there. That's up to you.
Okay, so put it for the
So make note that it would defer by the applicant.
There's an agreement between the applicant and the board to defer this until we have a quorum of 5 individuals.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We need to second the motion and vote on the motion?
No, because they've deferred it.
It's an agreement. I don't think there really needs to be a motion for it.
Okay.
Do we need to withdraw from planning commission meeting?
You should probably appear for planning commission, and the staff can relay what happened here today, and that would likely be deferred as well, in addition to this one, so that this can get sorted out.
Yeah, because if you stay that way, you can defer it here, and then for the planning commission, then you're still moving forward.
All right, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, moving on to number 4, front yard variance, Haynes Publication Inc., requested by Will Crunk, property located at 1299 Bridgestone Parkway, tax map 017, parcel 28.08, I2 Heavy Industrial District, property owned by Haynes Publications. Mr. Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting approval, a parking variance, a front yard variance, not a parking variance, for the site plan located at 1299 Bridgestone Parkway. And that property is zoned I2 and owned by Haynes Publications Incorporated. And they were here at the 2 weeks ago, October 17th, at the workshop, and they discussed that this building would have 2 tenants. I think one on one side of the building and one on the other. This is an existing building. So what makes this site very unusual, it has 2 fronts because it's sandwiched between Howell Quaker and Bridgestone. So there would need to be a determination of what is the front of the building. And once that's made, then we could treat the other setbacks, the rear and the 2 sides, accordingly. They are requesting this front yard variance to, in order so they can pave over the entire area and take what is impervious, and that would become pervious. That's all that I have. I'll be happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Do you have some overhead shots there that you can show us? That's good. Okay, is the applicant here like to step forward, please, and name and address for the record?
Will Crunk, 1894 General George Patton Drive, Franklin, Tennessee.
Raise your right hand if you would. Promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to help you God?
I do.
I think so. Any questions from the board? So if you just explain, if you would, just by the overhead shot there, just explain what's going on, just so the board members can understand.
Sure. The highlighted property is one circled in blue. Bridgestone Parkway is on the right-hand side of the building, and Howell Quaker's to the left. And the right-hand side of the building is to remain as is. We're adding a new tenant on that southwest left side of the building. And to be able to add a new tenant, we're looking to add additional loading dock bays for medium-sized trucks like FedEx trucks, UPS truck size bays. And to be able to add in those loading dock spaces, we need to have as much pavement room as we can to allow for the turn movements to pull in off of Howell Quaker and make the left turn and be able to back in perpendicular to that southwest building face.
Okay, so presently, I just want to understand which is the front of the building, which is the side, just so we understand that. So just by looking at the overhead shot there, just give us your description of where you think things are at.
In my opinion, the front of the building is actually along Bridgestone Parkway. If you drive along Bridgestone and past the property, there's signs for visitor parking and things like that for office space. As part of this project, we are also adding 5 parking spaces on the Howell Quaker side for the offices there, but the majority of the truck and loading dock access will still remain off of Howell Quaker. And the address for the property is off of Bridgestone Parkway to the east. So even though we are on a street frontage along Howell Quaker, in my opinion, that is the rear backside of the building.
Okay. So just looking at the overhead, just so that
It's
on
the left side.
the left-
This left side of the image is Howell Quaker.
Howell Quaker, and then on the right side is Bridgestone.
Correct.
Okay. And so just explain what you're going to do with the building so that we understand what's going to happen with the building. I mean, at the moment, it looks like you're accessing it from the east side, is that what you want to call it? That's where the trucks are entering now?
No, that's where, so if you notice, there's a parking lot, just a regular automobile parking lot on the east side along Bridgestone. That's where workers and people access the office space, but all the truck access is off of Howell Quaker, where you can see the turn in on that southwest corner, the bottom left of the page, where trucks can pull in and access where the existing loading docks are to the building. We're not making any additions to the building. All we're doing is knocking holes through to add additional truck loading dock bays up through an opening in the building.
So the additional, where the truck's going to be, is going to be on a Howell Quaker, and you're in industrial area. Okay. Does everyone understand what's going on here?
Can we point it out on the map where this new parking area is going to
You got a
be?
pointer? Bob?
There you
Is it the brown area?
go.
Just a circle. Yeah.
So this is Howell Quaker, and
Okay.
what we're proposing is additional pavement in this grass area here, which will actually be pervious pavement. So in essence, we're not necessarily adding new impervious area for stormwater purposes. But this is where that additional pavement needs to be, and trucks will have additional loading docks along this building face. So in order to have the turning movements necessary to have trucks access that area, we're looking to pave up to the property line.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone understand that?
Yeah, it'd be no greenway between Howell Quaker and your building at all, right? You talking about?
No, there will be. Inside the right-of-way, there will still be the grass, just outside the blue line is where the property line is. So there will still be about a 10-foot grass strip, but it'll be inside the right-of-way.
I mean, I went out to the property and I can see what they're getting at and what they're going to do. I mean,
See the back part?
Yeah. Okay.
They look well
Yeah,
put.
that's good.
And the owners here would like to.
If I may,
Yeah,
Mr.
sure, go ahead.
Board.
Could you just state your name and address, just so we have the record?
Sure. My name is John Hoy, 1510 Columbus Avenue, Portsmouth, Virginia, 23704, and I represent the ownership team and the development team that's acquiring the property. And the reason why we need this variance is, Mr. Cronk stated, is that we're splitting the building. The building's roughly 77,625 square feet, and we're going to make it a 2-tenant building. In order for this site to work for us, we need to be able to have parking on the Howell Quaker, and it's critical that we have it. The trucks that are coming in and out of there on the Howell Quaker side, and we're putting 13 doors on that side, are 32 feet long. So 10 feet makes a lot of difference for us. And it's really important that and crucial that we get that additional 10 feet, and we're, willing to stipulate a little bit of landscaping to, dress up the area, as long as it's okay that some of that landscaping is gonna have to be in the right-of-way that we'd have to get approval to do, and we can put on the side, and we're willing to put some on our property also to dress it up some. The
Okay, so this
has a-
board, it's just the variance is what we're looking at this evening,
Yeah.
just the variance, so just deciding that if we accept the variance or deny. So with that, anyone else want to speak for or against this? If there isn't, I'll accept the motion one way or the other for the variance on the front yard requirements.
I make a motion that we approve it as they've described.
We have a motion to accept. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
So moving back to the item old business number 1, did the applicant arrive? He did. Yes, sir. Sorry, so you want to step to the podium? You weren't here, so we moved on without you. Mind stating your name and address for the record?
Creek Road, Lebanon, Tennessee.
Raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to apologize for being late. I came out of work to leave to come here to for about 60% flat tires. Someone decided that I needed to stay at work a little longer today. So,
Okay, so the staff had addressed what it was, and you presented to us a plan which we appreciate you working with us last month. So just want to run through just some questions. So on the yellow highlighted areas where you're going to blacktop and be a dustless surface. The yellow area as you do?
correct. The yellow will be a dustless surface. We're trying to research what's the best alternative. I've asked for a definition because there's asphalt, tar and chip, concrete. I believe we're going to do some of it in concrete just because of the drainage, and we're worried that we would get some erosion if we used anything other than concrete.
Okay.
Because the volume of traffic's pretty high right in the front.
Okay, all right. And then the green area?
The green area will be landscaping, and there should be an additional blue area, I think, that we had to mark that was left off from where we had the meeting, and we added it back, I think, with a blue pen.
Correct. No. Well, I appreciate you working with us. I know it was getting through the month, but I think you've done well to get us where we need to be. Any questions from the rest of the board?
No?
With that, I'll entertain a motion for or against.
I make a motion that we approve it as described.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
2 seconds. All in favour say aye.
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 Motion carries. Well done, sir.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you. Thank you. With that, nothing else on the agenda. We'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.